Hi, Teresa. Welcome to the NTM Growth Marketing Podcast. I'm excited to be speaking with you today.
Hi, Andrew. Thank you for inviting me to be on your podcast.
Well, let's start off and just hear a little bit more about you. And I want to hear, what is your current organization and what is your role at the company?
Well, I am the co-founder of Pickleball Max. My husband and I run this business. We started it in around 2015 before pickleball became cool. So, and I think that's you reached out to me initially because you are starting pickleball too, right? So, you know,
I was a tennis player growing up, and then we had a double date. November 2021 was my first pickleball game. And then I just did my first tournament at Bobby Riggs in San Diego in June.
oh, great, great. So you've done a tournament too. So you know how fun pickleball can be and how addicting it can be too, huh?
Yes.
So back in 2015, actually, my husband had played pickleball even when he was in, I don't know, elementary or junior high or something like that. So he had it in school, but I had never heard of pickleball at that time. So my mom actually is the one who introduced me to it and sort of reintroduced my husband to it. Actually, pickleball was being played at our church. So she invited Todd to come and play at our church. She knew he was a good tennis player and everything. And he started playing, and he would go on his lunch hours a couple of days a week to go play pickleball at the church. And I told him, I said, if you're going to be doing this often, we need to try to maybe make a business out of this because if you enjoy it that much and everything. So that's what we did. And we started our blog back then, and not knowing much of, how to do the blog and everything initially, but we've grown it since then. And since then he's become certified as an instructor. So he provides lessons. We also run tournaments, pickleball tournaments. We manage tournament desk operations and registration and things like that. We're located in Ohio, so we do tournaments probably within 4 hour radius of where we are here in Ohio, even though we're going to be doing one in Florida here coming up in October too. But people contact us because they know how we run the tournaments and everything. So yeah, so it's a lot of fun, and it's amazing that you can make a business out of pickleball. So.
Tell me a little bit more about what pickleball is like in Ohio. So I'm from Pittsburgh, live in San Diego. In San Diego, it feels like any and everywhere you go, there's pickleball or conversations around pickleball happening. Is the sport growing that rapidly as well in Ohio and maybe some of those states people aren't thinking about?
Right. Yeah. Pickleball is exploding. We're in southern Ohio, Cincinnati area, Southwest Ohio, and it's exploding. And we've lived here probably 8 years or so, and the growth in those 8 years is crazy. We actually now have indoor pickleball facilities that are opening in the area.
I was going to ask if indoor
Yeah.
pickleball is becoming popular.
Yeah, it is very popular. We have where the initial courts where my husband teaches, there's 18 dedicated pickleball courts.
Wow.
They're outdoors. They built over 18 courts downtown on the Ohio River in Cincinnati, right downtown, which is cool. They have a new facility called Aces is sort of downtown, and they have indoor and outdoor dedicated courts. And then also my husband teaches at it's what's called the Pickle Lodge, and they're going to have 18 dedicated indoor courts with stadium seating and everything too. So, and that's it's open right now. It's not finished yet, but hopefully this fall it'll all be finished. But people are playing there already too. So yeah, it's just booming, and we see, I believe, I know that the Middletown courts has, I'd say 600, 800 members in it, and I know the Cincinnati Pickleball Association has over 1,000 members. So yeah, so and even like Columbus, is booming with pickleball. It's getting popular in Indiana. I just heard that Northern Kentucky and Florence, they're building a facility there for
Wow.
indoor courts. So yeah, it's booming in the Midwest here for sure.
Uh, Last spring, I went up to Allegheny College, which is where I went to school. It's kind of in the corner of Pennsylvania, Ohio, New York, right near Lake Erie,
Oh, okay,
in
yeah.
this little town called Meadville, Pennsylvania. And when I was on campus, even they were talking about in Meadville, this random town, like how popular pickleball was at the local YMCA. And that blew my
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah, it's amazing. The Ys definitely have the courts there, and a lot of the indoor tennis facilities too. And that's what they'd start doing around here. They would tape lines on the tennis courts. and have pickleball and tennis both. And they both can exist. They can coexist, both sports, and stuff. There's enough difference between each of them. And pickleball players still like tennis, and tennis players like pickleball. And it's cool to see all of it coming together and how much pickleball is exploding. I mean, pickleball, the growth over every year is crazy. And right now, statistics say there's like, I don't know, 8.9 million people playing pickleball, but then the APP tour came out, and that's one of the professional tours, came out with some study that says, really that's over 30,000 or 36 million people playing pickleball. So,
Wow.
the numbers are growing fast and rapidly, and it's cool to see. And a lot of it's due to marketing, of course, too. So, yep.
Yes, those are going to be some of my questions. And the first one is I wanted to hear a little bit more from you around what it's been like as a marketer, as a business owner in a sport that's growing, like this, just at a hockey stick growth versus I'll contrast that to perhaps baseball and MLB, which has had at the professional level, I don't know about youth sports, the declining rapidly. I don't know the data with the pitch clock count, if that's helping to, up viewership this year, but it's definitely not a sport on the rise in America.
Right.
What has it been like for you as a business owner and a marketer to be involved in an industry that is growing so exponentially?
Yeah, it's really cool. It's hard to keep up with, though. It just is changing so rapidly and everything. When we first started pickleball, I mean, when we first even moved to the Cincinnati area, we walked around to tennis clubs and said, you need to bring pickleball in here and everything. And people were like, what is that? So they didn't even know what it was. And so I think the pandemic actually helped pickleball because a lot of people joined in the pickleball bandwagon at that time because it was something easy to play. And you could set it up in your driveway, and stuff to
Right.
start if you wanted to. So that just boomed. And I know that seemed like Pickleball Central, who's a main retailer of pickleball equipment, was shocked at the growth during that time frame. They thought it was going to decrease, but no, it just exploded. And then pickleball, typically, I mean, it was started back in the 60s, so it's been around a while up in Washington State and everything, but the growth is huge now. And it's primarily always been more of a senior sport over time, but now that is not the case. So now, all these young people are jumping on, and actually the number one women's player in the world is only 16. So it's
Yes.
amazing, how the sport has just evolved into many ages and many varieties, and just they're saying there's just not enough courts right now to keep up with the demand of all the pickleball players that are happening right now. And I contributed to a lot of different factors, and one of them is professional pickleball has developed over the past couple of years too, with the PPA tour and the APP tour, and also Major League Pickleball. And
I see it on the gym on ESPN. I see it on ESPN at the gym. Just a casual thing to do, like it's college football on a Saturday now.
Yeah, it's definitely. And pickleball will start becoming a college sport too more. So I know more and more colleges are picking it up and everything. But and I know they want to get into the Olympics eventually and everything too. But with MLB,
it's gonna be, just interject real quick, it's gonna be in the, as I'm Jewish, it's gonna be in the Maccabi games. They're opening the Maccabi games up to pickleball now.
Really, that's very cool. So yeah, it's amazing. And now that these professional tours are coming on board within the past couple of years here, it's just growing so much. And sponsors are jumping on the bandwagon for that. They're getting like you said, it's on ESPN, it's on CBS Sports, it's on, they were broadcasting them all on YouTube all the time, but now they're venturing into other media channels and everything. So yeah, it's amazing. And even they're providing huge events now too, with pickleball, and even bringing some of the good old tennis players on with John McEnroe and different ones like that to do like an event, a pickleball event. So and they're broadcasting that. So it is amazing, the growth of pickleball.
How have you noticed your communication style shift since 2015 to 2023 about pickleball? So the way I was thinking about that is, maybe in 2015, when I hear just the name pickleball without ever heard of it in 2015, I would have immediately thought of like a pickle and like, is it a cornhole type game? Now, like pickleball, everyone knows what you're talking about. So how has some of your just communication shifted now 8 years later?
Yeah, that is true because yeah, you had to explain it originally and people would laugh at the name, like what is that, back then. And nowadays people have actually heard of it, even though maybe they haven't played it, but they at least when I tell them about it, they're like, oh yeah, I've heard of that now and everything. So yeah, so it does make a little bit different and we're not having to explain the game to everyone. Now we can, shift to explaining strategy or how to play or, things like that. So it's not having to educate the masses on what pickleball even is to begin with. We can get into more other pickleball related details and everything.
I'd love to hear from you with your own company, Pickleball Max. How has marketing been a fuel for growth of your business?
Yeah, so basically for us marketing, a lot of it has to do with the blog. We have to be on top of the blog all the time and creating content and getting the content out there. Another avenue that we like to market is with email marketing and doing funnels and campaigns and all of that. So that's something that, and we have to get a better handle on that a little bit, but it's something that we do use. Social media, I like to, Instagram and TikTok and all that are popular with pickleball right now, but we don't typically go on those platforms just because there's only a couple of us working and it's too much to keep up with all the different social channels all the time. But we do use Pinterest is a good thing for us, and not many are on Pinterest with pickleball. But you get Pinterest and Facebook, Twitter, of course, YouTube. So.
What do you think makes a good blog post? And I say that because I've been to websites and newsletters that almost function like a mini blog where I'm hooked on it every single day. Others where I read it once, I'm halfway through, I'm checked out and I'm on YouTube searching for cat videos.
Right. Yeah, so there's a few different things that go into making a good blog post. Of course, from a marketing perspective, search engine optimization is a huge piece of it, but I know that isn't necessarily for the audience in the end or whatever, but as a marketer, we have to definitely take that into consideration. But for us with pickleball, telling stories at times is a good thing, of course. And as a marketer, it's always a good thing to tell stories. But for us, our audience is a lot of beginner pickleball players who've just recently heard about it or are searching how to, what shots, what rules, all of that. So basically, getting detailed as to different strategy tips, different shot selections that they can make, the rules, things like that. So, and anytime we can tie a video in with a blog post, is always a good thing too. So if my husband's describing a shot, having a video also including in that. And also, of course, with the blog post, you want to also get them to stick around, look at other blog posts on the site and everything too. So tying it back to other posts that you've already written also.
I think you made a few really good points there. And one thing I heard was that you really know your avatar of who is your potential customer and who reads your blog, which I heard was a beginner pickleball player. Right. Can you speak a little bit about how do you learn more about some of the hopes, the dreams, the pain points of that beginner pickleball player? And, in my mind, like an advanced pickleball player, they're trying to get into tournaments. They're, they know what a ranking is. I still don't even know what a 3 or 4 means. I just know I'm somewhere in that range versus someone who's new, they might be stressed over, how do I even pick out a paddle? Like, where do I even start playing? Like, can you speak a little bit more about how you really get to know that beginner pickleball player and what's going on in their life?
Yeah, so there's a couple different avenues that we know or that we explore. Part of it, my husband's an instructor, so of course, he's on the course all the time, and you can overhear.
That's great market research.
Yeah, so he can hear, people ask, what pickleball paddle do I need, or what's the difference between these pickleballs and different things like that. I do more the online thing where I check out different Facebook groups that are pickleball related and everything, and just scroll through and see what questions people are asking, and seeing, what their interests are and what, what they are looking for right now. We also view a lot of, my husband particularly views a lot of podcasts, pickleball podcasts. And so those podcasts are always mentioning what's going on right now in pickleball and what's happening on the professional tours or I don't know, the different drama that's going on in pickleball. So there's different avenues that we can take to figure out a little bit of what our audience is looking for.
I listen to this one every once in a while. It's called, I think it's from 4.0 to Pro with Michael O'Neill. Have you ran into that ever?
No, that's one I have not, because we view a whole lot of them, but I haven't seen that one. No.
He's a friend of mine that I've known for a bunch of years. I haven't talked to him in a while, but I saw he created this new podcast, and the title hooked me in, from 4.0 to Pro. And this will
probably seen it. I don't know.
this will lead into kind of my next question, and it goes into the storytelling and copywriting. Can you talk about why story writing and copywriting is important as a marketer?
Yeah, I think with storytelling, I mean, now ultimately you want to provide a solution to somebody's pain point. So like that one in particular, you're saying from 4.0 to Pro, the player knows that they're pretty good, but they know they want to become a pro, and there's that gap between the 4.0 to the 5.5 or 6.0 or whatever with the pro.
You can't just smash the ball on people
right
while you're out there.
Yeah, there's the strategy behind it and everything.
Right.
So yeah, so basically telling a story to describe how you can get to that point, and what steps you need to do to get to that point. And it's always, even with telling a story, it's almost you're building like and trust with somebody too, and you're engaging with your audience and everything. So all of that goes into the whole storytelling aspect.
As an individual, where do you find yourself consuming the most pickleball content? Is it, audio through podcasts? Is it Pinterest, TikTok, Facebook groups? Where do you get your information?
Yeah, personally, I get it from Facebook groups and podcasts. So that's where a lot of things are. YouTube videos are good also to consume. But yeah, that's probably where I, as the online person, get the majority of it.
Why do you like those two mediums?
I like the podcast part because there's a lot of professional players that are coming out and creating podcasts now too. So you get a different perspective from that. But there are those who, like your friend, who might not be a pro and doing it. It's also good to hear what they're talking about, or what they're questioning, or how they're helping their audience. So yeah, so I do enjoy that aspect too of it. But the pro side is fun to listen to too. I mean, they're traveling constantly, so they all the different locations they'll talk about, or the different things that are going on the court while they're there, and it's just interesting to keep up with all that.
What do you when you were talking about ESPN and some of these mainstream outlets covering pickleball, can you expand a little bit about how you feel like that has propelled the industry into the mainstream?
Yeah, definitely. It's these audiences, like on the tennis channels, one thing that they started playing pickleball on initially, and you'll have the announcers from pickleball who are typically the commentators that stream on YouTube and things like that for the professional tours. But then they are the same announcers that go a lot of times over to these other channels, with tennis channels, CBS Sport or whatever. And they're good at it because they know the game and everything. So as the pros are playing, they explain, oh, this is a dink shot. This is what a dink shot means. And this is, because you're explaining it to tennis people now and everything. So you have to have a different angle on it. So I think that they've done a good job when they go to these other stations, whether ESPN, CBS Sports, any of those, NBC, they've been on all of them now, it seems like. So, but they do a good job explaining to the average person who's just tuning in for the first time or comes across it, as to what pickleball really is and why they're doing certain shots that they're doing and everything. So I think that that's helped in the growth also, to really educate the average person on what pickleball is and how you play it.
Where do you think the sport is going to go in the next couple of years? For me, I'm just hoping there's more free courts built in San Diego. I'm pretty simple with that.
Right. Yeah, I think courts are going to be built all over the place. We have a second website that we built that's pickleball user review site, And basically we're taking the venues that are being built that are dedicated pickleball venues, because there are so many going up right now that you can't even keep track of all of them. I mean, there's just, scouring press releases and media sites and everything to find all these new venues that are coming up. So we're trying to pull all that together into one site. And then we have to start marketing all of that, which we haven't done yet, but we will be doing that. But yeah, I think pickleball is going. I actually just read a newsletter today that, and that's also another good way to keep on top of it is the other people within the industry, are putting out newsletters, also email newsletters. But this one particular newsletter today, they talked about the growth, and it's always been a question. It's like, oh, is the growth going to keep skyrocketing? Is it going to start to stop or plummet? And even in their analysis today, they're like, it's just going to keep growing and growing. So it is amazing, how it is. But yeah, I do believe that the sport is going to keep growing, and like I said, it'll get more into college sports too, and get into the Olympics eventually. So it will, and just the amount of courts that are going to be built will be tremendous. I think I even read today that I think in Kansas that even their city is backing a huge project of pickleball courts. So those would I imagine would be free. The city's building it and stuff. So maybe these other cities, like they said, they're telling people build it and people will just come. You're not going to regret building the courts. So yeah.
When we started the podcast, you were talking about how your husband was going on his lunch break to play pickleball at the church, and you had said something along the lines of, "You're spending so much time doing this, we need to create a business out of it."
Right.
So if there's someone who wants to get into pickleball and create more, income, maybe it's their full-time job, what advice would you have of how they could break through of turning this newfound passion into a income stream?
Well, I would say right now with the growth of pickleball, it's a time to get into pickleball, of course, if you're going to do a business. So there's different areas, jump into the sport and see where there's a need. We have vendors who are for, supplying software for the tournaments, or there's other companies that are trying to do ratings for the pickleball players or statistics for these tournaments. There's a lot of different areas that if you are good at something already initially, that you might be able to cater into pickleball and use your experience and your background to further grow the sport and everything. So it is a good thing. When we started pickleball, it wasn't popular. We started from scratch. We had nobody, on our email list or whatever, and stuff. So it's just building it up over time and everything. But nowadays, I do think that, somebody could jump in, and if they see a need in pickleball that is not being filled, yeah, go for it.
Do you have any advice of how to build an email newsletter?
To get the platform and everything, or
gain more subscribers to an email newsletter.
Yeah. We do, like we offer a tripwire on our site where, you can sign up, we get the pop-ups and things like that to do that. We pass out cards all the time. You can run Facebook ads, Google ads, things like that, to get your newsletter populated. And we're ones who, we don't buy lists, all of ours are opted in, and they are, legitimate people who want the information and everything. So some people I know will buy lists, or I'll end up on lists and I'm like, I never did this. I never signed up. So, but no, we have legitimate people on our list and everything. So
you did mention that you hand out cards. And so my question is, in today's age, we're always thinking about what is the new shiny object online, whether it's, TikTok or AI or whatever else that looks like. But what are some non-shiny object, ordinary things that you've done to grow your business? Is it, like you said, just handing out cards at events? Is it handwritten thank you cards? Is it simply coffee meetings with influential people? What have been some things that you've noticed are not shiny, but actually do provide business results?
Right. Yeah, some of the things, the cards, when we run clinics or tournaments or anything like that, passing out our cards to everybody and letting people know about that. Joining networking events. So local in-person networking events is another good way that has increased business and everything. Cold calling, amazingly too, has
really Do you do the cold calling yourself?
I don't like to do it, so but I just even recently hired somebody to do it too. And people want to get into pickleball because it's the thing right now. So, so that's even something that you wouldn't think would be something that would work, but people are interested. So yeah, so there are the different means. Even we've provided signage like at local courts and things like that too. So something like that, because the players are on the court all the time, so so they can see our signs on the court or whatever. So yeah, so there's different, I guess that's yeah, those are the different ways that we would do it offline.
So kind of the ethos of what this conversation has been about is how awesome pickleball is, how the sport is rising so quickly. But in anything, there's roadblocks, there's setbacks, there's challenges. Can you share any insights around just in general as an industry, some challenges pickleball has faced with such rapid growth, and any opportunities you're seeing, with your own organization, take advantage of some of these things?
I think the rapid growth is a good and bad thing.
Right.
So it's both ways. So it's exciting, but it is challenging to keep up with everything. And they're testing so many different things out at a time that, even with these professional tours and things like that, they're testing different means to run these tours. And even recently the software for tournament software merged. There were a couple of different tournament softwares that you could use, but now they're merging, and so there's the challenges of just staying on top of all of it and trying to keep up with it, and making your changes as a business owner to go along with, oh well, this now has changed, so now we got to do it this way. So so that's a little challenging. So as much as the growth is fantastic and it's a great thing, but there are challenges that come along with it. But those things will get worked out over time. They'll get worked out over a couple of years or whatever. It will get worked out, but it is a challenge in the meantime, trying to keep up with all of that and the changes that are happening. Yeah.
What's it like for you as a business owner, keeping up with some of these challenges and keeping up with growth? Do you feel kind of forced, like you have to grow exponentially with the sport, or can you kind of carve out your own metric of success?
I have to personally watch it myself because I am somebody who is the big picture person. And when I see something that I'm like, oh, this is coming now and this is great. And, I want to like hop on that bandwagon and run it and everything, so I can get distracted, and stuff. But I have to watch that. And so we just have to, as a business owner, go with I guess my husband brings me back down to earth at times. He likes the excitement and the things that we can do, but then he's like, okay, no, this is what I want to go after. This is what I want to do. And take it that way, because it can be challenging as a business owner that way too, to know which direction to take it when it's growing so much.
And going back to your avatar, is that part of why you really honed in on one type of pickleball player instead of trying to appeal to everyone and anything in the pickleball
Right,
landscape?
definitely. Yeah, we had a niche down on that because yeah, a beginning pickleball player requires a lot of different information, of course,
Right.
than a professional. And there are a lot of people out there who are tracking the professionals and are staying on top of the pros and all that. So we just felt more comfortable with, okay, let those people do that, and then we wanted to stay in our lane and just focus on more of the beginner pickleball players. Yeah, because it can be, yeah, it'd be so much to try to tackle, to try to provide information to all levels and all different things that way. So yeah, so we had to narrow it down a little bit.
So my last question, Teresa, is what is the best purchase you've made for under $100, either personally or professionally, in the last 6 months?
This is not going to be professionally, but personally. And it's not because well, I guess it was marketing in some ways, because a blogger friend of mine, she was promoting it and everything. But I do not enjoy cleaning the bathrooms and everything. But this was a purchase about $60 or whatever. It was a electric tool that will help scrubber to clean the showers and clean the tubs and all that. So I don't have to spend as much time, cleaning that and getting down on my hands and knees and scrubbing, and stuff like that. So this takes care of it for me. And that was a great purchase that I tell people about, because it's something that I do not enjoy doing. And this took some of that away from me. So they addressed a pain point that I had, and I purchased it, and I'm happy I did.
And if someone wants to learn more about you and your organization, can you give some websites and social media handles that we can follow up with?
Yeah, so pickleballmax.com is our website. You can find all sorts of information out there of how to maximize your pickability. So we coined that term, pickability. So, and then on the social media channels between YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, it's just Pickleball Max. You can search, we're on all those, and you can get information about us there.
What was that term? Pickle ability or pickability?
Pickability. Yeah, pickability. So
How did you come up with that?
Just wanted a catchphrase that maybe stuck with people. Initially, we had created shirts and clothing, to sell at tournaments and things like that, which did very well. And we had that term on the shirt and everything. So that's what we came up with at the time. So it's sort of embodying your passion and your obsession with pickleball and everything all rolled into one. So yeah, so people caught on to that term a little bit.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Teresa.
Thanks for having me.